Shalom, giving all praises to Yahweh Bashem, Al Shai Bashem, Rakakwadash, Shalom to the 144,000 and the rest of the elect. Shalom to all. And I'm going to entitle this video simply, He That Leadeth in the Captivity. So this is going to be like a back to the basics show. I'm going to go to the blue letter, just put in captivity, which I did already. Put in like words. I'll for example, okay, Deuteronomy 28:48. Thou shalt beget sons and daughters, but thou shalt not enjoy them, for they shall go into captivity. So I'll click on this word and I'll see how many times. It's all over the place, but I'm going to these words in relation to Esau and Jacob. Like right here, I'll probably open this up, Deuteronomy 30, because you know what it says in the 7th verse, Deuteronomy 30 verse 3, that then Yahweh the Most High will turn thy captivity, this is the last captivity, and have compassion upon thee here, for as far as the elect goes, and will return and gather thee from all the nations. So we know that this is talking about this last captivity. Whether Yahweh the Most High have scattered thee. This is obviously talking about this captivity, the last captivity. Esau is the end of the world. So let me go here. Okay, so this is what Trump said. This is fair use, fair use, fair use. Let me slow it down. This is for educational purposes only. I'm not making money off of this. Just giving my criticism to this, or view. Okay, African Americans built this nation. Okay, so now let's go.
African Americans built this nation.
Now the first thing that came to my mind was, did they want to do it? Did they voluntarily? Did they say, we want to help you guys? Of course, they built the nation at the end of a gun trained on your head, or the threat of you being hung up on a tree and whipped, or being killed, or being castrated. This is no different than a man robbing somebody, putting a gun up to their head and saying, you know, you can't say, well, it's against the law to rob. He's obviously knows about that.
The knowledge you come with the root.
African Americans built this nation. We built this nation. You know, you're just starting to get real credit for that. Okay, I don't know if you know that.
Well, real credit would be fucking reparations, motherfucker. 50 million each for every so-called black American, African American in this country. 50, which that's still not enough. $1 billion for each one of us is not enough, because you got to go into captivity. True payment is you got to go into captivity. It ain't about it writing a check, which you can't cash any fucking way. So he's patting you on the back. See, you did a good job. Of course, I did a good job. I didn't want to get my head blown off. I didn't want to get hung up on a tree and get hung on the tree, or lynched, or a lynch is a system. Okay, people say lynch him. Hang on, lynch is a system. The Willie Lynch letters. There's videos on that. Has to be. So he's saying you guys did a good job. Let's bring this back.
So you guys come with the discipline, you come with the knowledge, you come with the root.
African Americans built this nation. We built this nation.
And he's in front of a black audience. I would have booed his ass. I wouldn't have came anyway. What the fuck is this? Like this pisses me the fuck off. But then these Edomites get mad because we say, you know why they come against the one Westers? Because we say that you're going into captivity. Those other Israelite groups don't. Some of y'all Israelites don't teach that. The IOG, Israel God, they don't teach that. Genesis doesn't teach that. Genesis wants They want Edomites to be over us. In their mind and in their mindset, mind frame, and the kingdom, Edomites are going to be wearing crowns, and we're going to go back into slavery again. Yeah, these two demons, tap dancing pastors, they don't even use the name Yahweh and Yahweh Shai no more. So what's going on with these guys is the same thing that went on with Tazadakia.
You know, you're just starting to get real credit for that.
No, real credit is the fucking 50 million for each and every last one of you. You know, there's a lot of highly educated, highly motivated, smart Jakes out there. There's going to be Jakes that's going to fuck the money up. But there's going to be Jakes that's going to make things happen. So you're afraid of that. He hasn't mentioned anything about slavery, captivity, or we sorry put you in slave. He damn sure ain't going to mention reparations. Somebody should have yelled out in the audience, what about reparations? When we going to get our reparations? Fuck a credit. Give us reparations. Reparation come from the word to repair. So true reparation is to put you in captivity. And like I said, that's why these Edomites roll up. Wait a minute, we can switch Gentiles, they can be saved. You don't understand the scriptures. You don't understand prophecy.
Okay, I don't know if you know that. You're just starting to you built the nation. We all built it, but you were such a massive part of it.
Yeah, of course. Or you get your head blown off, or you get hung on a tree, or you get chopped up, cooked, and eaten. There's a book, The Delectable Negroes, where you had European Edomite slaves that used to kill Negro slaves, chop them up, and cook them and eat them.
Bigger than you were given credit for. Does that make sense? Right? But through generations...
He gave him that look like, I can't believe they're falling for this crap.
Of blood, sweat, and tears, and you deserve a government that defends your interests, protects your families, and cares for our own citizens first. My administration is fighting with everyone and all our heart to reverse the pain inflicted.
You can't reverse it. Not with a check. You can't even reverse it with you coming to us in shackles. It can't be taken away. The damage is already done. That's why the Most High is going to renew us. He's going to take that away, take that out of our mind when we get in the kingdom. Every other nation is going to be slaves. Edomites #1 on the list. Now, if you don't like that, you can go join Genesis.
By Democrat leaders and to deliver hope and
Jake don't fuck. They don't give a fuck about the Democrats. They said the Democrats ain't about shit, and the Republicans ain't about shit. They said the Democratic system it failed for Jake and for Esau.
Opportunity and prosperity for all Americans, but for African American communities all throughout our land.
For decades, the United States benefited quietly but significantly from the economic energy of African American entrepreneurs, professionals, investors, and consumers. From agriculture and logistics to...
Anyway, that's all I wanted. Let's go to the scriptures. Let's see where I go with this. So I typed in the word captivity. You got captivity. Thou shalt beget sons and daughters, but thou shalt not enjoy them, for they shall go into captivity. So I want to open this up. I want to go into the word captivity. Like I said, I don't know where I'm going with this. Revelation 13:9 and 10 comes to mind. Isaiah 14:1 and 2 comes to mind. Baruch 4 verse 25. You can start from the first verse with that. Thou shalt not beget sons and daughters, but thou shalt not enjoy them, for they shall go into captivity. Back to the basics. The word there is Shabya. Right, we were taken, West Africa, taken away, prisoners, captives, captivity. Our captivity 35 times. It means captivity, captives, state of captivity, act of capture, captives, captives. Let me do this. Let me click on the word cap. I already got that word. And, so we're back over here. Oh, sorry, let's go to back one more. Let me open this. Let me go to the first verse. Start from the first verse. Restoration promised. Oh, we had the restoration from the time of Moses to now. We're talking what? 2,500 years? I'm sorry, 4,500 years? 5,000 years? Just throwing a number at you. We're talking more than 4,000 years ago. This was given to Moses to give to the sons of Israel, and how we're going to be. So we had to go through like 5,000 years of various captivities, and this is the worst captivity that we experience. We're finally going to get the kingdom, and we're finally going to get it. We're finally going to enslave all the nations, all our enemies. And the Most High is not coming to save all of Israel. Our job is not to save and wake up Israel. Our job is to push this word out there so the Most High can initiate the spirit and the mind of the elect. This is only for the elect. That's it. Ain't no YNs gonna make it on the ship. They're fucking defects. That's because of their mothers. And it shall come to pass when all these things are come upon thee, the blessing and the curse which I have set before thee, and thou shalt call them to mind among all the nations. Yeah, because when you go to Deuteronomy chapter 28, Vocab said this. What is it? The yokes of iron upon thy neck. Oh, that was talking about the Assyrian Empire. And then see, there's picture that was talking about all the times we had yokes of iron upon our necks. Assyria was one of the places. America was another one. That they shackled every time a nation enslaved another nation, they shackled them. Either put shackles on them, yokes of iron on them. That was the Assyrians. But if you go to yokes of iron, let me go to yokes of iron. Back to the basics. We haven't gone into the topic of slavery in a while. You kind of forget the script. You don't forget the scriptures, but when you go, you got to pull it out. Oh, Christian, you know what a Christian does? They come with their straw man arguments. They don't want to argue about. Well, they'll argue about Gentiles. Well, it says Gentiles, but they will not argue about Revelation chapter 13 or Revelation chapter 21 or Daniel 7, Daniel 9. They'll never argue that because they don't know, they don't understand the prophecies. We see the prophecies crystal clear. So they'll argue pretty much two arguments. The Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit, they're all one. It's all one person. When Jesus came down, it was really the Father inside of Jesus. Because they don't, that's the only argument they have. Oh, the Gentiles. And they lose that argument because you explain to them the Gentiles in the New Testament that received blessings or received the word were Israelites that grew up Hellenized. It's not hard. That's why we don't want to talk to you. Okay, what did I say I was gonna do? I said I was gonna go to yoke of iron. Yeah, let me just put in yoke of iron. Yoke of iron. Yoke of iron. Now they used to have a bunch of pictures in Jake in slavery. Here you got one. This looks like a wooden iron, but this is definitely a yoke of iron. So they used to have a bunch of pictures on this when you clicked on this. Shackled. Let me open this up. They shackled down. These are Jakes. This looks like a yoke of iron made of wood. But they don't want to pay. And this is an actual picture. That's a Jake right there, mistaken for an African. And they put the yoke of iron around your neck. If they had a coat, let me go back. Come on back. Now that picture just fucking disappeared. Where's the picture? Here we go. Here we go. When they had, seems like, okay, these are Arabs right here. This is an Arab getting ready to, and Arabs taught the world about chattel slavery. Esau had to learn about chattel slavery by the Arabs. So when they had you, this is a Hamite with a rifle, just in case, and they got him yoked up. They got him yoked up. They got the woman chained up. They got a yoke. This actually happened, but you say you shouldn't experience this? Are you crazy? That's another yoke. They're all shackled up. That's a yoke of iron. There's a whatever you call a face mask. And we're gonna fucking treat you like doormats. Let me do this. All right, let me just go ahead and read this. And it shall come to pass when all these things are come upon thee, the blessing and the curse. So we had blessings during the time of King David, during the time of Solomon. We had blessings. Then we went through a series of captivities. We're still under the curses. The blessing will be the kingdom. Okay, I have set thee, I have set before thee, and thou shalt call them to mind among all the nations. Among all the nations, we all went through captivity under these different nations. Whither the Yahweh, the Most High, have driven thee, and shall, oh, these small hats, you can't give me a picture of you with yokes of iron on your neck. And shall return unto Yahweh the Most High, and shall obey his voice according. That's why he's only saving the elect. He's not saving a bunch of hard-headed Negroes where he's going to have to destroy them anyway. That's what they did with the wilderness. He tried that. It didn't work. Just get the elect, change their bodies. Their body, when the change comes, we're going to have superhuman, extraterrestrial bodies, and we're going to keep the laws perfectly. The law is going to be in us, programmed in us, according to all that I command thee this day, thou and thy children or sons, with all thine heart and with all thy soul, and shall return to Yahweh the Most High, and shall obey his voice according to all that I command thee this day, thou and thy sons, the word there is sons, with all thine heart, thy mind, and with all thy soul. That then Yahweh the Most High will turn thy captivity. 5 cities in the Egypt shall speak the language of Canaan, and then swear to the Lord, or call on the Lord. And have compassion upon thee, and will return and gather thee from all the nations whither Yahweh the Most High have scattered thee. And we're literally scattered all over the planet Earth. We look like every nation on the planet Earth. That multitude in Revelation 7 and 9, John said, the angel said, who are these people? He said, I don't know who they are, because they didn't look like Israelites. They wasn't dressed like Israelites. He said, these are Israelites. Christians say, oh, those are talking about the body of believers. No matter what, no. It says, 4th verse, if any of thine be driven out unto the uttermost part of heaven, that's the west, America, from thence will the Lord Yahweh, the Most High, gather thee, and from thence will he fetch thee. Fetch, and Yahweh the Most High, your power, will bring thee into the land which thy fathers possess, Palestine. Who's over there now? A bunch of imposters. And thou shalt possess it. That's the kingdom. And he will do thee good and multiply thee above thy fathers. You're going to have more children than your fathers had. So we're going to be having a lot of sex in the kingdom. The average Israelite man, he's going to have 1,000 wives or more. You great men in this thing, y'all going to have as many wives as y'all want. And they're all going to be virgins, and they're all going to be 12 years old at that time. And all your wives are going to be pregnant too. They're going to stay pregnant, barefoot and pregnant. And Yahweh the Most High will circumcise thine heart and the heart of thy seed, thy children, to love Yahweh. We're going to love Yahweh because the Most High is going to program us to love Yahweh, the Most High, with all thine heart and with all thy soul, that thou mayest live. And Yahweh the Most High will put all these curses upon thine enemies. Who's number one on the list? Esau. Psalms 83. Tucker Carlson said, well, why am I going into slavery? I said, if you're an Edomite, you're first on the list. So you better hope that you're not an Edomite. and them that hate thee, persecute thee. Let me read that again, 7th verse. And Yahweh the Most High will put all these curses upon thine enemies, and on them that hate thee, which persecuted thee. And thou shalt return and obey the voice of Yahweh. This is the kingdom. And do all his commandments, which I commanded thee this day. Now, you know what I'm going to do? Let me do this. Short answer, it depends on how you understand Deuteronomy 30 historically, theologically, and eschatologically. That means a future prophecy. Different traditions answer this differently. Let's walk through it carefully. Immediate historical context. I don't want that. Why many say it was not fulfilled. Complete reversal. All curses upon the enemies. Historically, Israel continued to suffer under the Persians, the Greeks, the Romans. This suggests the reversal was incomplete. It goes to say partially fulfilled. Did Deuteronomy 30 verse 7 already take place? Best summary answer, yes, in part, historically, after exile. Okay, it says here, compare Deuteronomy 30 verse 7 with Romans 11. You know what I'm going to do? What the GMS Israelites I'll explain it accurately and not neutrally without endorsing it. GMS position in brief, GMS teaches Deuteronomy has not yet happened and yet fulfill very future at the return of Yahweh Shai. They see it as literal, national, violent judgment, end times. So we're talking about Deuteronomy goes back, what, 5,000 years, 5,000 plus years. So it's going to happen in our lifetimes. How GMS reads Deuteronomy, Israel specific ethnic group. GMS teaches that Israel today is not modern Jews only, but includes so-called African Americans, Latinos, Native Americans, some Caribbean peoples. They believe these groups are the descendants of the 12 tribes and are currently under the curse of Deuteronomy 28. Yes, to this day. The curses are happening now. GMS says Israel is still under the curses. Slavery history, poverty, mass incarceration. That's slavery. Incarceration is slavery. That's in the 13th and 14th Amendment. I believe it's the 13th Amendment, that you can put people in slavery. When you get locked up, that's slavery. They call it jail. You're in prison. You're incarcerated. The actual word is slavery, because they make you press license plates or do whatever. You know what I'm going to do? Give me a second. Okay, let me do this. Show you that anybody that's in the system, your uncle's in the system, your cousin, your brother, your father, you met your father. There's a lot of Jake go in the prison system and they meet their father in the prison. Oh, you my father. Anyway, let me see. th Amendment to the Constitution. Let me go to all. So the slavery wasn't done away with. The 13th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution, ratified in 1865, formally abolished slavery and involuntary servitude. In other words, you can volunteer to serve. You can volunteer to be. You can get Edomite woman and make you a concubine, and then the cop said, "What are you doing? What are you doing? This is my concubine. This is my concubine right here, my slave girl." They arrest you up, you can sue the system, because under the Constitution, you can have slaves, except as a punishment for crime after a conviction. Now, you know what they do in the system, the prison system, federal or state? You can't make the bail, so you in there. You might be in there for 3-4 months. And then you might be, you might do a deal. They get you to make a deal, even if you didn't do it. Well, but if you blow trial, see, you can get 5 years. You ain't did the crime. You wasn't there. But if you blow trial, you're going to get 25 years. So Jake gets scared. Because there's no real Jake that makes these top lawyers among Jakes, they look at you as a different class. They look down on you. These old top uppity Negroes, they look down on you. They're like honorary whites. These fucking politicians among Jake, what the fuck did Obama did for you that made your life better? He didn't do a motherfucking thing in 8 years. Okay, let me do this. So I showed you that the prison system is slavery. It says they can only enslave you if you're convicted of a crime. But they enslave you before trial. You might be in the system for 6 months and then let free. And good luck with trying to sue them. But then you got Genesis. They bent over backwards for Edomite. But we know what they did. We know what they did. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to know what they did. See, when these Christians come up with this, 3-in-1 and Gentiles, you come up with the slavery. You get them slavery scriptures out. Okay, this is what I said I wanted to do. There we go back over here. Come back over here. Okay, captivity. Let me do it this way. I'm going to narrow it down. Back to the basics. Shabya. 35 times. Let's go check out these precepts. Woe to thee, Moab, thou art undone, O people of Shemash. He hath given his sons that escaped and his daughters into captivity unto Sihon, king of the Amorites. So you had the Amorites enslaving the Moabites. So putting somebody into captivity, that's the oldest profession in the world, in the history of the world. The Ishmaelites perfected it. Like I said, the Ishmaelites, the Arabs taught Esau about slaves, the boats, to put them on slave ships, carrying from one part of the world to the other, and enslaving them and whipping them. And these Ishmaelites, these Arabs, they're going into slavery too. Psalm 68 verse 18. Thou hast ascended on high, thou hast led captivity captive, and hast received gifts from men, yea, for the rebellious also Yahweh the Most High dwell among them. We were put in captivity. The people that put us in captivity, they're going into captivity. And their captivity is going to be worse than our captivity. Isaiah 46 and 2. They stooped, they bowed down together. They could not deliver the burden. They could not deliver the burden, but themselves are gone into captivity. We went into captivity under the Babylonians, under the Medo-Persian Empire, under the Greeks, under the Romans. Let's see what this says. I'm familiar with this. 10th verse. Therefore fear Yahweh, O my servant Jacob, the Israelites, saith Yahweh, neither be dismayed, O Yasha'Allah, for lo, I will save thee from afar. We're far away from the Middle East, the Levant. And thy seed from the land of their captivity. The number one captivity is right here. That's also in Baruch 2 and 30 on down. And Jacob shall return, that's the kingdom, and shall be in rest, that's the kingdom, and be quiet, that's the kingdom, and none shall make him afraid. I love this chapter, Jeremiah 30, the whole chapter. It's a short chapter. Therefore, 16th verse, all they that devoured thee, all nations that came up against thee, shall be devoured, and all thine adversaries' enemies, every one of them shall go into captivity. So if you're an Edomite, right? then guess what? Well, what if I get right with the Most High? You ain't gonna get right with the Most High. You're not gonna agree with everything that we say. You ain't gonna agree to your mother going into captivity. Let's say you are a righteous Edomite, which is impossible. That's oxymoronic. You make it. You get a crown on your head. Well, your mother, your father, your children, your grandmother, you're going to have to beat the shit out of them in slavery. And you ain't going to do that. You ain't going to be on the corners and the highways and the byways teaching with the 12 tribe sign, the Negroes, Judah. And we got to go into captivity. But the Most High going to save me because I got right with the Lord. That's all bullshit, man. Genesis is selling you wolf tickets. Oh, and they definitely sold the fuck out. And they that spoil thee shall be a spoil, and all that preyed upon thee will I give for a prey. Okay, let's go. Okay, we're in Lamentation 1 verse 5. Her adversaries are the chief, her enemies are prosper, for Yahweh hath afflicted her for the multitude of her transgressions. Her children are going into captivity before the enemy. Who's Esau? They're the enemy. '18th verse. Yahweh is righteous, for I have rebelled against his commandments. Here I pray you, all people, and behold my sorrow, my virgins and my young men are going into captivity. Yet was she carried away, she went into captivity. Her young children also were bashed in pieces at the top of all the streets, and they cast lots for her honorable men, and all her great men were bound in chains. That's talking about Israelites, so they're going to have to go through it. Give me a second here. Back to the basics, back to the basics, back to the basics. I'm going to give you one more scripture and then I'm going to get ready to close it. Isaiah. This is the main one you go to. Isaiah 14, 1 and 2, and also Revelation 13, 9 and 10. Those are two good ones. For Yahweh will have mercy on Jacob and will yet choose Israel, and the strangers, those are Israelites. You got guys in Israel saying, oh, those are the other nations. The strangers in Isaiah 14 and 1 are Israelites, shall be joined with them, and they shall cleave to the house of Jacob. And the people shall take them and bring them to their place in the house of Israel. The Israelites shall possess them, the other nations, and the land of Yahweh for servants and handmaids, and they shall take them captives, whose captives they were, and they shall rule over their oppressors. So we're going to pull out some words, and I did this a couple of months ago. This is the go-to scripture, Isaiah 14, 1 and 2. Because it's blunt. Doesn't mince words. You lead Israel into captivity, you're going to pay by going into captivity. So get ready for captivity. Okay, I'm sorry. This is take them to their place in the house of Israel. Shall possess them. Land of the Lord for servants and handmaids. I'm going to look up the word handmaids. Shapacha. maid servant, slave girl, concubine, maid servant, as belonging to a mistress of address, speaker, humility. So they're going to be concubines too, because they were concubines back then. Ishmael was born of a concubine. Rachel and Leah had two maid servants and made them concubines for the sake of Jacob. Let's look up captives real quick and I'm going to close. The word is Shabbat. To take captive, take captive, to lead captive, to be taken captive, carry, take away, take, and that's what they did from West Africa to America. That's called a transatlantic slave trade. They had what's called a transatlantic trade, where they had goods from Europe or England, depending on where the ship, set sail from, down to West Africa. They had to trade the commodities for slaves, and they had the slaves. They took the boat or the ship to the Americas. And then they sold us in bulk. And then what happened was you had these slave owners that they were in the business of just selling slaves, and they would sell them to plantation owners. So you had auctions. It's like, you ever been to a car auction? Same thing. They give you the car. You look at the car and you bid. So the same thing gonna happen to them. Deuteronomy 30 verse 7. Let me just get oppression and I'm out of here. Oppressors. The word is Nagash. Exactors. You're going to exact things out of him to get him to work. Oppressor. Driver. Oppress. Distressed, exact, taskmaster, and taxes. The Romans had a system, feudal system, where you pay the taxes, they left you alone. To press, drive, oppress, exact, exert, demanding pressure, to press, drive, to exact, driver, taskmaster, ruler, oppressor, tyrant, lord, exactor of tribute, which the Romans did that, to be hard pressed. So now let's come on back to what good old Donald Trump said. I'm sorry. I mean, he's just, patting us on the back. You guys did a good job in helping us, man. Yeah, well, we had no choice in the matter. We either got killed, hung, or whipped.
Americans built this nation. We built this nation.
How can these niggas be clapping in the fucking background, bro?
You're just starting to get real credit for that. Okay, I don't know.
We ain't getting shit from you motherfuckers.
You know that. You're just starting to you built the nation. We all built it, but you were such a massive part of it. Bigger than you were given credit for. Does that make sense? Right?
What the hell are they clapping for this guy? How stupid can you be? Anyway, let me just go here real quick. Trump is about to flood the market in 2026. Most people aren't ready. Okay, I gotta watch that. just see what's happening here. And the nations were angry. Discussion with Grok. A Babylon USA will fall. I don't use Grok. Maybe I should try it. I'm used to the chat. The government is destroying emergency food. No one will save you. Grow your own. Well, that's true. Just seeing what's going on. Hey, this guy, this suck up. Anton Daniels is live, humiliated. 10 minutes, blame Trump supporters. Anyway. Okay. BRICS unveil gold-backed CBDCs. Well, that makes it real money. To challenge the dollar. MOTB is closer than we think. Let me play some of this.
Hey, Shalom Makim Shalom. First and foremost, as always, I would like to give all praise, all honor, and all glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rachakudash. I would like to give double honors to the apostles, the bishops, and the elders of Great Millstone that taught us this truth and that still teaching this truth. Much peace, love, and salutation to the elect, beginning with the 144,000, all the way down to the large multitude that believes, and who the Lord will deliver in these last days. To you all I say shalom, as well as to the Akwath, the sisters that believe. Shalom to you all as well. I'm the brother Taza Monfil in Great Millstone, Dallas camp, coming back today with another quick lesson. And I pray this lesson will be edifying to the elect. And I want to do a quick lesson on this article that I seen this morning. This is from DeDollarizeNews.com. All right. And the title reads, it says, BRICS launches gold-backed currency and CBDC network and accelerated push to de-dollarize by 2026. All right, let's read that again. All right, it says BRICS, which BRICS is an acronym short for Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. All right, there's other BRICS nations as well too. That's a part of BRICS, but that's the main. Those are the main nations that that made up of BRICS whenever it was initially set up. All right, so it says BRICS launches gold-backed currency and CBDC. All right, with CBDC.
By the way, that's real money. Real money is gold or silver, not paper notes.
C is another acronym short for Central Bank Digital Currency Network, an accelerated push to de-dollarize by 2020.
None of these other camps really go into this stuff, the CBDC. We were the ones that introduced you to the acronym CBDC. And we said all that leads to one step closer to the MOTB. And you still got camps saying that, oh, the GMS is going off. You're gonna regret the fact that you said all that shit, all them years that you've been talking shit. It's all gonna come back to you, man. It's all gonna backfire. You're gonna have to explain yourself, unless you done dumb down your zombies that goddamn much. We're gonna see if you're real or not. When they make this thing mandatory, we're going to two major YouTube pages, ISUBK and IUIC, just to see what the leaders got to say about this thing, whether you should get it or not. And if you don't get it, you're not gonna get a job. Are they gonna teach you? Now faith got to kick in, or go ahead and get it because you got to feed your families. We'll see. And some of us are gonna get killed for not taking it.
6. All right, and immediately, when I seen the title of this article, it immediately made me think of the MOTB. All right, the Mark of the Beast, which the MOTB is another acronym that we've created here at Great Millstone, beginning with the Apostles on down, which is the acronym for the Mark of the Beast. All right, which the Mark of the Beast, all right, is going to be a digital, or it's going to be a physical RFID microchip that will be planted, all right, implanted underneath your skin, whether it's in your right hand, your left hand, your forehead. All right, that's the next plan that they want to roll out. All right, and just as they're saying that here in 2026, when it comes down to the 6G technology being implemented, all right, a part of the 6G race, all right, is implantable technologies. You also have Neuralink, okay, that's stating that here in 2026 they're going to do mass brain implants, you know, mass chip creations for brain implants. Okay, so you know, 2026, which we're already in 2026 now, so-called 2026, is going to be a hell of a year, man. All right, these prophecies are beginning to speed up, as the scripture says here. All right, let me move this out the way real quick. Let's get Revelation 12 real quick. This is Revelation chapter 12, verse 12. It says, "Therefore rejoice." It says, "Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time." All right, and this devil here is not talking about, all right, a physical being underneath the earth, you know, in a fiery furnace with a pitchfork and an arrow tail. Not a pitchfork, I rather say a trident and an arrow tail. Okay, all right, the devil literally just means deceiver. Okay, so it says the devil shall come down unto you having great wrath, and this devil's talking about Esau. All right, he is the physical counterpart of the spiritual demon Satan on the left hand side. So with him knowing that he has but a short time to implement his new world order, all these various different nations are in league when it comes down to the mark of the beast. All right, it's not just only America. Okay, you have America that's in league, you have China that's in league, you have Russia that's in league. All right, you have India that's in league. All these various different nations are in league when it comes down to the mass implementation of the RFID microchip, because everything's going digital. Okay, but before that happens, all right, the dollar has to crash. Okay, because remember, the dollar is still a supreme. The dollar is still a supreme currency. All right, on the face of the earth, because that's why you have something called the reserve currency. All right, which in order for goods and services to be moved, all right, which are all backed by oil, you know, these contracts are done using the American dollar. That's how America got rich. As a matter of fact, let's get another precept real quick, then we'll get to the article. I don't want this to be too long, but you know, it's just points that's hitting my mind as I'm going through this. Let's get Ezekiel, the 27th chapter. And when you read Ezekiel 27 as well as in Ezekiel, the 28th chapter, both chapters, all right, it's mentioning the king of Tyre, or the king of Tyrus. All right, but you know, spiritually, this is talking about Esau in today's time. Okay, this is Ezekiel. Let's see, Ezekiel 27, and the whole chapter is really fire on cool. But I want to get a main point, because you can also tie this chapter in with Revelation, the 18th chapter as well too. Bear with me. You know what? It might be in Ezekiel, the 28th chapter.
And let me just say this: this new system that they're going to introduce, maybe later in this year, 2026, is going to be a reset. Let me just try something. The global reset and dollars. I'm sorry, let me do it this way. The global reset. I put Dallas. I said dollars. And CB, Central Bank Digital Currency, CBDCs. the Global Reset, a World Economic Forum initiative for a pandemic recovery. The central bank digital currency (CBDCs) are linked primarily through conspiracy theories, which falsely claim CBDCs are tools for elites to control population under a Great Reset agenda. That's exactly what it is. While in reality, CBDCs are digital versions of sovereign money. Sovereign money is gold and silver, and the Federal Reserve notes are not real money. Explored by central banks for payment efficiency, financial inclusion, and modernizing finance, with global adoptions rising but facing technical and policy hurdles. In other words, you got to pass the laws to get them to do it. Let me see. And RFID Tech. What is the technology behind World Economic Forum CBDC chip? I can't put implants, it's not going to give me nothing. Implants. Is it implant? Okay, the topics of the Global Reset, central bank digital currency, CBDCs, and RFID implants are generally discussed as separate technological and economic development. They're going to come together as one, but they are often connected within certain conspiracy theories. Conspiracy theories. Bear me, y'all. Down the rabbit hole, central bank digital currency, digital conspiracies. Okay, let me just try. Corporate takeover, vaccines, the whole. Let me try this. And how did it get hijacked by a conspiracy theory? Let me try this. Bear me for a minute. What is the Great Reset and how did it get hijacked by conspiracy theories? Reset the Great Reset. Resist the Great Reset. See, they're not giving the full truth. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm sorry. Let me do this here. Let me try this. Bear with me, y'all. Conspiracy theories. I'm trying to see where's the date at. Okay, the date, it was 2021. Conspiracy theories aside, there is something fishy about the Great Reset. It's corporate takeover of global governance that affects our food and data and our vaccines. So people are waking up, man. That's why they're trying to kill the First Amendment. And by the way, WEF, W-E-F stands for World Economic Forum. They will start in another week and a half, 2 weeks. I think it's like the last 2 weeks in January. They all meet in super rich, the elite, even certain politicians. They'll meet at Davos, Switzerland for this forum, World Economic Forum. You got to be a multi-millionaire or billionaire to be a part of it. Anyway, let me come back over to him. Okay, let me let this play a little bit more.
Let me stop in the word traffic.
See, basically, we done went through everything. We done went through everything, but a lot of times we'll go through a lot of things over and over to keep you reminded. We done broke down all the scriptures, Revelation 13. If you don't know that and you've been a part of this thing for X amount of years, then you haven't been paying attention. Anybody in GMS that's been in this thing for a number of years, 5 years, 10 years, 2 years, somebody asks you about Revelation, you should break it down. Boom, Revelation 17 means this, Revelation 18 means that, Jeremiah 49 means this. Isaiah 13 means that. Joel 3 verse 9 means this. All them prophetic that's what we push on, them prophecies. Even the chat says we're known for pushing prophecies.
I know it's in Ezekiel 27 or 28. Yep, Ezekiel 28 and 28 and 5. All right, this is Ezekiel 28. Let me start at verse. Let me just start at the top and read down. It says, "The word of Yahweh came again unto me, saying, Son of man, say unto the prince of Tyrus, Thus saith the Lord Yahweh, because thine heart is lifted up, and thou hast said, I am a God. I sit in the seat of God in the midst of the seas." All right, and this is the same sentiment that Esau has. All right, whenever you read in Isaiah the 47th chapter, all right, Isaiah chapter 14 as well. And this is what you see going on with the whole AI infrastructure being set up now. This is Esau trying to establish his godhead, right? It says, Yet thou art a man and not a God, and not God, and not a power. Though thou set thine heart as the heart of the Most High. You see that? Behold, thou art wiser than Daniel. There is no secret that they can hide from thee. And this goes into the wisdom, all right, on the left-hand side that's been given to Esau. When you look at this AI infrastructure being set up, you know, setting up this technocracy, you know, being able to, try to quantify things in the future, even though before they even already happened. That's him trying to establish himself as the Most High. Okay, but through his left-hand means, he's going to be brought down. Right? Verse 4 says, "With thy wisdom and with thine understanding, thou hast gotten thee riches, and hast gotten gold and silver into thy treasures." And that in his riches and his understanding is going into how he's used the sword, all right, to be able to conquer these various different nations. All right, look what's going on in Venezuela right now. It's a complete takeover of Venezuela, and you have DJ Trump, aka Nero, all right, that's stating that he's ready to take over Colombia, he's ready to take over Cuba, and he's ready to take over Mexico. He's ready to take over Denmark. This man is literally going insane. But it's the spirit of the Lord. All right, it's the spirit of Yahweh Bashem Al-Shai that's on Donald J. Trump right now to do these things, because ultimately you have war that's being brewed up. You have wars and rumors of wars, as Yahweh Shai said. Remember, the scripture says the king's heart is in the hand of the Lord, as the rivers of water. He turneth it whithersoever he will. So let's read verse 4 again. It says, "With thy wisdom and with thine understanding thou hast gotten thee riches, It has gotten gold and silver into thy treasures. By thy great wisdom and by thy traffic.
So none of these Christians can equate America, Europe, the European Union, EU, NATO. They don't. Well, that has nothing to do with the scriptures. So you mean to tell me you have a nation that's 250 years old as of 2026, July 4th rather, but that's not in the scriptures. The NATO nation is not in the scriptures. The BRICS nations are not mentioned in the scriptures.
Hast thou increased thy riches in the traffic? All right, let's get that word traffic here. It goes into to trade. Okay, because when you look at America, all right, America is a nation, all right, that imports more than it exports. That's why these various different nations are going to be weeping and wailing, all right, whenever America goes down, because there's going to be no more people, or there's going to be no more that's going to be able to buy their merchandise.
He just mentioned Revelation 18, which I want to do a very easy breakdown. Once you get it, once it's told you once you should understand it. But I got to do a video asking chat GMS take on Revelation chapter 18 verse by verse.
Okay, all these various different nations depend on America to buy their goods. Okay, and that's why America is the whore that rides upon the beast. Okay, because all these various different nations are all interconnected. Okay, even though you have friction between America and Russia and America and China, and these various different nations have friction with one another, they still rely upon one another, and they still have contracts with one another. Okay, America still has contracts. Russia and America have contracts together still, even though in the media it shows forth it's this battle between Russia and America. And remember, there's no wars that are started unless the global elite approve of it going down. Okay, this word traffic in the Hebrew is rakalah. All right, rakalah. By thy wisdom and by thy traffic thou hast gotten the great riches. And it says traffic or merchandise. Okay, traffic or merchandise. Right, and when you get the merchandise, traffic, trade. See that? Merchandise, traffic, or trade. And when you get the root word, that word is rakal. It says to go about. All right, which these various different ships and tankers, they go about. All right, traveling to and from America. Chiefly from China. Okay, to be able to move their merchandise. Right, trafficker, trader. See, but it's all gotten by unrighteous dealings, injuries, and riches that's been gotten by deceit. You see, because when you had the Bretton Woods agreement that took place, that pretty much stopped the gold, or excuse me, that stopped the dollar being backed by gold. All right, I want to say that was during the time of Richard Nixon, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that was Richard Nixon, 71. He closed the gold window, and the Bretton Woods sit down. They agreed that the United States is the new world reserve currency, and that they had all the gold. So what France got, or Germany, they had these gold certificates, and they didn't realize when they went to get the gold, Nixon said, well, let me stop it. And they couldn't get their gold back. Now, it's said that a lot of these national parks are really owned by China and France and so forth, because they didn't have the gold, so they had to give them something back. So they said, we'll give you part of the land. So a lot of this land, these national parks where it says at a certain time you got to leave and the park is closed, well, it's a public park. Public means government. But they have secret deals going on that they had to give them some form of, collateral instead of the gold. That's why the BRICS, I believe it was this same video, the BRICS, it is BRICS, the BRICS nations. The article in the beginning of this video, the BRICS nations, the BRICS dollar is backed by gold. Let me see what's the name of the BRICS dollar. Let me do this real quick. Wait till it comes up. Okay, I don't want that. Bear me for a minute, y'all. What's the name of the currency of the BRICS nations? There is no single official common currency named for BRIC nations. Instead, they use their own national currencies. Riel, rubies, ruble, rupees, renminbi, which is Chinese, means the people's money. Rand, I believe the rand is African. Rupees is Indian. Ruble is Russia. But they're gonna back it by gold, so they're gonna switch it. We got to see what's going on. That's why you keep your eyes on this. Keep your eyes on this. And I'm pretty sure they're not. I don't know. I got to do the research on that. But if they're not doing it now, they're going to do it. They're going to bypass the U.S. dollar or the Federal Reserve to trade, and that's when America's going to come in. This man, like I said, Nero. There's a saying: the fools rush in, and he's a fool. He's a fool. How would a new BRICS currency affect the U.S. dollar? I'm not going to read all into it. Okay, I'm not going to do all this. Anyway, I'm not going to click this and click that. Hey, you got to keep up on world politics, which is global politics, geopolitical, geopolitics. You got to understand how the money affects you, especially the Great Reset. That's going to affect you. Ultimately, it's going to affect everybody, because eventually, in order for you to participate in the system on the grid, you got to get that chip. And that's what all we talk about is the chip. To ad nauseum.
Mistaken. Okay, then you also had, deals that were made with these various different OPEC nations, whether it's Saudi Arabia, mainly chiefly Saudi Arabia, by way of them stating that they would protect them and give them arms deals. All right, but in return, they would have to sell their oil in the dollar, which made the dollar extremely strong. You see, but it's really funny money, man. It's not really even real money. The strength of the dollar just comes by way of the strength of the dollar literally just comes by way of the sword, the American military, as well as what's needed for the dollar to be strong for these different contracts, right? So once again, it says, by thy great wisdom and by thy traffic has...
Everything is back to normal after over the weekend, Monday, with this guy going back and forth to court. He got his people, his cronies saying, this is not a war, this is a police action. There's a lot of questions to that. What he did was totally illegal, and it's like the norm, because guess what? Now China can enter into Taiwan. They can say the president of Taiwan came to China, raped one of our women, so we come in to arrest him. And when we go to arrest him, we're going to put in, we're going to have the vice president, which he's going to be an insider. He's going to be a puppet. So that's, Nero lowered the bar even more, and now everybody can do. So when you criticize them and say, well, wait a minute, you just did that. You just did that. Russia can now take out Zelensky. Russia can really take the gloves off. So this Nero guy got us into a fine mess. But keep going, Nero. I'm with you.
Hast thou increased thy riches, and thine heart or thy mind is lifted up because of thy riches. See that? And this is why Esau is the proud man that he is. Okay? Due to the fact that he's able to use his military might to be able to subjugate all these various different nations. Okay? Just bear with me 1 second here. So verse 6 says, therefore, thus saith the Lord Yahweh. Right? When you see God in all caps or Lord in all caps, it's talking about the Most High Yahweh, right? It says, because thou hast set thine heart as the heart of God. Behold, therefore I will bring strangers upon thee. And these strangers are talking about these various different nations. All right, and you read about these different nations turning on America. All right, they shall take up a parable against thee. Like it says in Habakkuk, the 2nd chapter. Also, Revelation chapter 17, verse 16. You know, even America's own allies are going to turn on this place. The terrible of the nations. Okay, you got also Ezekiel 38. You know, it says, and they shall draw their swords against the beauty of thy wisdom. Which the sword today, the modern day sword, is talking about the missiles. Right? And they shall defile thy brightness. All right, and the brightness goes into pretty much the splendor of America. America being looked at as the beacon of light on the planet Earth, you know, the greatest nation on the planet. You know, the scripture says that a lot of the wicked shall be put out. See? And that's going to, and you clearly see that this is what this is accumulating to, from, if that's the right word I'm using, when it goes down to these various different occupations that have been happening by the American military, and that's still going on. Okay? Now, when you go back here, it says a new monetary order. It says BRICS pushes beyond the dollar. It says as 2026 dawns, the BRICS alliance, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, is no longer merely theorizing about de-dollarization. It's doing it. All right, and let's just look up a common definition of what is de-dollarization, right? De-dollarization, right? It says de-dollarization refers to efforts by governments. De-dollarization refers to efforts by governments, firms, and market participants to reduce the use of the U.S. dollar in reserves, trade invoicing, and settlement, cross-border finance, and domestic transactions. You see, because if you go to Venezuela or Colombia, Peru, you know, if you go to these various different places and you have and you use the American currency, they'll gladly take the American dollar over their own currency, because, you know, their own currencies are trash compared to the U.S. dollar. You see? But what happens whenever you're going to have various different nations that are trading beyond the American dollar? What's that's going to do? That's going to cause a lot of the American dollars, all right, the greenback, if you will, to flood back into the states. And when that floods, when the greenback floods back into the states in high levels, that's when you get inflation, and then you get hyperinflation beyond that. That's when you're going to have a loaf of bread cost, you know, $500 and $1,000, things of that nature. That's why you see various different nations create, you know, $500 bills and $1,000 bills. I want to say that Zimbabwe had like a $1 million bill or something like that, because the currency was so trash at one point. Whenever the currency in Zimbabwe collapsed, you know,
they had was a billion dollars, I believe. Yeah, that whole during Robert Mugabe, Rwanda, that's something to go into the history of. There's videos on that. How they printed so much goddamn money that it cost you $1 million for a loaf of bread. See, the average person out there doesn't know what's going on. You got to link you got to also take history, because history repeats itself. It always comes down to a feudal system where you got the 1% or 5% of the super rich, and then you got the rest of the people that are poor. And that's where revolutions start, when their backs are to the wall.
You have like $100,000 bills in Venezuela, if I'm not mistaken. See? It says it's doing it. It says under India's new presidency, the bloc is accelerating real-world implementation of its monetary overhaul. It says key components, such as the launch of the gold-backed BRICS unit, which is backed by gold, expansion of BRICS Pay, and a growing network of man, that's a hard word to say. Interoperable, all right, interoperable, right? Of computer systems or software able to exchange and make use of information. Of computer systems or software able to exchange and make use of information. So things done digitally. Interoperable digital currencies, right, are no longer speculative headlines. They're live systems reshaping the financial terrain beneath our feet. You see? So the gold-backed CBDC, the gold-backed central bank digital currency is already in play, and they're looking to implement this heavily in 2026. This isn't just another symbolic gesture to tweak dollar exposure. This is a full frontal attempt to build the scaffolding for a parallel financial system, one not shackled to U.S. policy, SWIFT sanctions, or IMF strings, which America controls all that. You know, the SWIFT banking system, these sanctions that have been placed on these various different nations, the International Monetary Fund, all this stuff is controlled and ran by America. That's why America is able to put sanctions on these various different nations. Okay? It says India's leadership signals a more aggressive BRICS phase, de-dollarization 2.0. All right, BRICS unit, the gold-backed currency backed by 6,000 tones. All right, the new backbone of the new system. And once again, this is all, you know, the elites are all controlling this. Remember, they're jockeying for position on the western side of the world, as well as on the right, as well as on the eastern side of the world. Okay, it says forget retail crypto experiments. BRICS is building a sovereign grade digital architecture. Interoperability among the digital ruble, yuan, and rupee is now a top priority. All right, the digital ruble, which I want to say that's the Russian currency. The yuan is the China, the currency in China, and the rupee is
it's also called a Reddit renminbi, yuan, and the renminbi, the people's dollar.
I want to say that's the currency in India, if I'm not mistaken, or Brazil, one of those two. It's now a top priority. This is not some academic sandbox. These projects are being developed to actively displace the SWIFT system and the dollar cleaning monopoly. So these various different nations that have been sanctioned behind, you know, American sanctions, and that cannot move, you know, their funds via the SWIFT banking system. Now they're making a way to circumvent that. Excuse me. You know, circumvent pretty much means to go around that. Okay, and this makes me think of the scripture, which I'll probably ended off on this, so I got to get ready to go inside. But Zephaniah says, "How ye inhabitants of Maktesh." This is Zephaniah 1:11 says, "How ye inhabitants of Maktesh, for all the merchant people are cut down, all they."
Maktesh is another name for America, Assyria, Babylon, Egypt.
That bear silver are cut off. Okay, and the inhabitants of Maktesh is your modern day stock market today. All right, because when these deals get done, all right, and you have a lot of these various different nations, which is, I'm not saying that this is going to happen tomorrow. You know, this is going to be something that's going to happen gradually over time, because, you know, even with the still being said, you know, the American dollar is still significantly strong compared to a lot of the other currencies in the world. Okay, but remember, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua is the one that's in control. All right, so when this thing really begins to pop off on a grander scale, all right, all these various different stock market people that's in the stock market and things of that nature, you know, they're gonna be wailing and crying, you know, because, you know, all their pretty much
These Edomites, the 29 crash, those people that committing suicide because they have amassed so much money and lost it overnight. So, you know, a lot of people that it's good to, you know, be content. You got billions of dollars, the next day you ain't got shit, you don't want to kill yourself. And that's what these Edomites are going to do. It's going to get terrible out here, man. When they bring that reset is going to come with the microchip.
Their investments is going to go to shit. You have a lot of people shooting themselves, killing themselves, especially when this dollar crashes. Because when this dollar crashes, that's the goal. The dollar will crash. All right, the world reserve currency of the earth, which is the American dollar, is going to
I read somewhere, I don't know if I saw it or read it a couple of days ago, that so many things are happening you can't even keep up. That the Feds introduced another $45 billion into the system. That's not a lot of money, but then again, it is a lot of money. It's going to make prices go up even more. That's why and things don't go up. Prices, the food went up, this went up, that went up. Getting on the train went up, taxi went up, this, that, and the third. My rent went up. And there was this Edomite woman with her husband. They had 3 kids, and they got to put them in daycare. They said to put them 3 kids in daycare, they got to pay separately. They're paying almost $4,000 a month just for daycare. That shows you that these devils don't understand what's going on. The mass of these devils out here, these Edomites and Jake, they don't know what the fuck is going on. That chip is gonna hit them like a ton of bricks. But it's been out there.
It's going to crumble and crash. Because remember, they're gonna crash this system and reset it with the new one, which is gonna be a digital currency. And with that digital currency being set up, that's where it's gonna be the MOTB, to whereas that's how you're gonna have to operate to be able to buy and sell.
It's gonna start with a debit card, credit card, like a bank card. It's gonna be everything gonna be digital. So you gotta, the whole saying, don't leave American Express, don't leave home without it. Carl Malden, this is before y'all was born. Don't leave home without it. Well, now you have to have your card with you. Most of the places that I go to, like the BJ's or whatever, certain other places, they'll there was this one place. When Sakaran got the flat with Apostle Kabar and Bishop Sakaran, they were right by an air, to fill your tire up because it's flat. So they tried to use it, they couldn't even use it, and you could put coins in there. You had to use a credit card. If you didn't have a credit card, you got cash, you're assed out. So it's going to start with having a sort of a debit card, bank card, which is going to be connected to your CBDC. We sound like a broken record. Then eventually it'll go into the chip. Well, you can get it on your phone. You can get the app on your phone and use your phone to swipe it. But eventually it's going to go into the technology if you got to get the chip in your hand or in your forehead. And that's when it's going to shake up a lot of Jakes, and they're not going to know what the hell is going on because you don't watch these videos. And these other camps that teach contrary, their students, their followers are not going to know what to do.
As it says in Revelation 13, that no man may buy or sell save he that had the mark. And you see these various different nations getting their infrastructure and their system set in place for it. Russia's on board, China's on board, India's on board, South Africa's on board, Brazil's on board, Saudi Arabia's on board. Okay? What you see going on in Venezuela right now is getting these nations on board, man. Okay? All these various different nations are on board. That's why it says that the hour of temptation is going to come upon the world. Okay, in Revelation, the 3rd chapter, the 10th verse. It's going to be a world in the oikonomene sense. All right? So I just want to do a quick lesson on this. I pray this lesson was edifying to the elect. Call halal Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, Ba'Shem Chakwadash. Double honors to the apostles, the bishops, and the elders of Great Millstone that taught us this truth and that's for teaching this truth. Much peace, love, and salutation to the elect. Until next time, I say, Lord willing, shalom.
Now you see this guy, Trump is now threatening to invade 5 other countries at the same time. Okay, here's another one. Midas Touch. This is the Humanist Report. This is Midas Touch. Alive. Dems hold J6 hearings as GOP hides. Because the whole J6, January 6th incident, 2021, he was the president. He was supposed to call in the National Guard. So everything coming back, you know, backfiring on him. And these dudes, these two dudes sold out. They straight up sold out. Anyway. Yeah, this guy gonna bring the nation to the brink of war, Third World War. Let me see something. Look, I don't know what this is all about. The teeny state of Israel will draw America into a worldwide conflict. What's behind the Iran protests? You're seeing what's going on. Everything is real politics, geopolitical now. Venezuelans respond to the U.S. capturing President Nicolas Maduro. Okay, let me just listen to it. What did I just do? Okay, that's wrong. I don't know.
You found a place.
I did not want that. I want this. Okay, they turning on Esau. Therefore will I discover the skirts. Okay, let's see this. Let's check this out.
But the nuances, I get that. I get the way they laid it out. But let's introduce some details about the white man and, as you put it, the brown country. The brown country, as you call it, is being run by a dictator who, yes, he was a dictator. So.
Let's see what this is all about. This is fair use, as you can see. What the hell the hell's going on?
And deciding white man.
They turning on Esau. Therefore will I discover thy skirts upon thy face, that thy shame may appear.
Deciding. It's not nuanced. It's a white guy, white man, an old white man, deciding what happens with resources of a brown country. That's literally what's going on. And that has been going on for centuries.
But
everybody's waking up to this man. Is this the man that made the earth tremble, that did shake kingdoms, that made the world a wilderness?
The nuances, I get that. I get the way that you've laid it out. But let's introduce some details about the white man and, as you put it, the brown country. The brown country, as you call it, is being run by a dictator who, yes, he was a
dictator means one speak. This guy is not Nero a dictator? Did he bypass Congress? So that makes him a dictator. Use those fucking trigger words. He's a dictator. If I hold a lecture and I'm the main speaker and I got an audience of 250 people Guess what I become? I become a dictator. That means diction. That means to speak. I'm the speaker. I'm the lecturer. He's a dictator. Well, even if he is, there's dictators around the world.
Dictator. So there's an argument that regime change would be of benefit to the Venezuelan people.
This guy's he's controlled opposition for real. Anybody that follows this guy is a real idiot.
We do not have a right to go into North America or to the USA and decide who runs the USA. We also do not have a right to go into Venezuela or to any part of the Caribbean and decide what they do. It's not.
Nero said that's their oil. No, this is our oil. No, this is our oil. How the fuck is it your oil? It's a wacky world we're living in. Bizarre world.
Not our business. And then when it all comes unstuck and it all becomes a problem, oh my gosh, why do these people hate us so much? Of course they hate you. Northern Europe has nothing. Northern Europe has no resources. It's got no land. It's got no gold. It's got no oil. It's got no...
Therefore, you got to go to countries with the resources. And ultimately, what they don't understand is this move to Greenland, which is under the jurisdiction of Denmark. You're bringing in forces to fight against a NATO nation. That's crazy. Now we truly see why Revelation 17 and 16 is going to come to pass.
No bauxite, it's got no cobalt, it's got nothing. And yet it claims to be the first world. It became the first world by looting and pillaging everybody else.
Oh, by the way, a dictator, if you have one guy, dictates everybody. Say he has a twin brother. They still is a dictatorship. Say they have the whole family, the Herodian dynasty. They were dictators, right? In this country, you have about almost 700, let's round it off to 700 people that dictate. I'm talking about the federal government. I'm talking about the Supreme Court, the Congress, which includes Senate and House of Reps, an executive, which is the president. That represents about 700 people. 435 for Congress, House of Reps, 50 for the Senate. No, I'm sorry, 100 for the Senate. So we're talking about 600 people. They make laws that govern the whole United States. Well, now it's Venezuela, because Venezuela is really part of the United States. The Trump doctrine, which is the Monroe Doctrine, the Monroe Doctrine is what? The West, this country started with 13 colonies, right? On the East Coast, off of the Atlantic. It went from the East Coast, they were going west, and they said nobody can get involved in this. Well, this is open land. This is gas land. You stole gas land. You can't get around this anymore. You know, your hands is caught in, you got your hand caught in a cookie jar, so to speak. Is anything happening? Did this guy's computer for my computer? Bear with me for a minute, y'all.
the brown country, as you call it, is being run by a dictator who, yes,
If he's a dictator, the people of that brown country put him in as a dictator. They wanted a dictator. Hitler, the people put Hitler in. Nero is a dictator. Nero doesn't listen to the Supreme Court. Nero doesn't listen to the Congress. He does what he fucking wants to do.
he was a dictator. So there's an argument that regime change would be a benefit to the Venezuelan people.
We do not have a right to
And you tell me that these people are not the devil.
go into North America or to the USA and decide who runs the USA. We also do not have a right to go into Venezuela or to any part of the Caribbean and decide what they...
Well, they do have a right, as long as they got the sword. Isaac gave them the sword, so the right is to take what they got to take, because they got... Isaac blessed them to be a thief.
do. It's not our business. And then when it all comes unstuck and it all becomes a problem, oh my gosh, why do these people hate us so much? Of course they hate you. Northern Europe has nothing. Northern Europe has no resources. It's got no land, it's got no gold, it's got no oil, it's got no bauxite, it's got no cobalt, it's got nothing. And yet it claims to be.
Brazil doesn't just have oil, it has oil, has gold, has bauxite. Bauxite is very important. Many other minerals or resources in the land.
Claims to be the first world. It became the first world by looting and pillaging everybody else.
I don't know what the hell's going on. Keeps freaking stopping, man. What the hell's going on?
It down, according to his substance shall the restitution be, and he shall not rejoice therein, because he has oppressed and has forsaken the poor, because he has violently taken away an house which he builded not. Surely he shall not feel quietness in his belly. He shall not save of that which he desired. There shall none of his meat be left. Therefore shall no man look for his goods. In the fullness of his sufficiency, he shall be in straits. Every hand of the wicked shall come upon him. When he is about to fill his belly, Yahweh shall cast the fury of his wrath upon him, and shall rain it upon him while he is eating. He shall flee from the iron weapon, and the bow of steel shall strike him through. It is drawn and cometh out of the body, yea, the glittering sword cometh out of his gall. Terrors are upon him. All darkness shall be hid in his secret places. A fire not blown shall consume him. It shall go ill with him that is left in his tabernacle. The heavens shall reveal his iniquity, and the earth shall rise up against him. The increase of his house shall depart, and his goods shall flow away in the day of his wrath. This is the portion of a wicked man from Yahweh, and the heritage appointed unto him. And the scripture I opened up with was Habakkuk 2, chapter 16. Thou art filled with shame for glory. Drink thou also, and let thy foreskin be uncovered. The cup of the Lord's hand, of the Lord's right hand, shall be turned unto thee, and shameful spewing shall be on thy glory. All right? So, like I said, man, this is Esau is the end of the world, as the scripture says, right? In 2nd Ezra chapter 6, verse 9, I believe. For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that follows. So this is just going to be a quick hit, as I saw here. And Lord willing, you heard the rest of that. We'll have to edit out the first part. But this was just a quick hit I wanted to bring to you. The turning of Esau, the title. They are turning on Esau. Therefore will I discover thy skirts upon thy face, that thy shame may appear. So, all praise and glory to the Heavenly Father, Yahweh, and to his only begotten Son, Yahweh Shai. Double honors to the apostles and to the elders. Great millstone, shalom to you, to the 144,000, and to the elect men and women. All praises and glory. Shalom, shalom, shalom.
Okay, this wasn't that long, but something came to mind. Let me go find it. It's Revelation. It's either Revelation 6 or Revelation 9, or both of them, because it pretty much almost says the same thing. Then I'm going to close. Give me a second. Revelation 6. Jake don't know, has no clue as to what's going to hit them. Okay, give me a second here. Okay, this is one of them. Let me see. The sixth seal, terror. And I beheld when he had opened the sixth seal, and lo, there was a great earthquake. That's when the missiles hit, and the sun became black as sackcloth of hair, and the moon became as blood. Missiles gonna cover you can't see the sun. When the missiles come across America, it's gonna black. Everything's gonna go black. That's how many missiles we're talking about, warheads. And the stars of heaven fell onto the earth. Those are the missiles. Even as fig tree casts her untimely figs when she is shaken of a mighty wind. Those are missiles. He thought they were stars falling. They were actually missiles. Look at them stars falling to the heavens, to the earth. And the heaven departed as a scroll. That's a mushroom cloud when it is rolled together. And every mountain and island were moved out of their places. So the earth is going to look different. And the kings of the earth, or the leaders, and the great men, and the rich men, and the chief captains, and the mighty men, and every bondman and every free man hid themselves in the dens and in the rocks of the mountains. And they said to the mountains and rocks, fall on us and hide us from the face of him that sitteth upon the throne, and from the wrath of the Lamb. Who sitteth upon the throne? Oh, this goes great with Daniel 7 and 9. Who sitteth on the throne? Yahweh. Who's the Lamb? Yahweh Shai. Two different entities right there. For the great day of his wrath is come, and who shall be able to stand? Babylon going to be totally wiped out. So I want to hit this one, then I want to go to Revelation 9. The sixth trumpet army from the east. Now, these evangelical Edomites, they said, oh, that's the Chinese army. It's not the Chinese army. ISUPK says it's angels coming down. No, it's not angels. It's missiles. What John saw was missiles pelting the earth. Now, if ISUPK says I'm going off, the original 7, that's how they taught it. So for you to change it, that means you're not a part of the original, ISBK. Because it was never taught that it was angels, it was taught that it was missiles. Let me see, saying Trump Lewis. I just want to go down to here. Okay, and by these three was the third part of man, which represent Esau in America, by the fire and by the smoke and by the brimstone, which issue out of their mouths, for their power is in their mouths. That's the nuclear warhead, and in their tails. That's the delivery system. For their tails were like unto serpents. So John 1 and 6, Revelation 6, he thought stars were coming down from the heavens, falling from the heavens. And right here, when you see this vision, it looked like a serpent. When a serpent straightened, a flying serpent. And Ezra saw it as a sword, a flying sword. Isaiah 34, the Most High sword, missiles, and had heads. Those are the warheads, and with them they hurt, they killed. And the rest of the men which were not killed, you got Edomites and other nations around the world, but mainly Esau, by these plagues, yet repented not of the works of their hands. That's talking about Esau mainly on the top of the rip. We didn't do nothing wrong. We didn't do shit. They're going to go down fighting. We're good people. We're righteous people. We didn't do nothing wrong. That they should not worship devils and idols of gold and silver and brass and stone and of wood, which neither can see nor hear nor walk. They're going to go to the churches. They're going to call the white Jesus. Neither repented they of their murders. No, we didn't do nothing wrong. It was self-defense. That's why we're going to beat the fuck out of them, and then we're going to destroy them. We're going to eliminate them for good. For good. Nor of their sorcery, because their power comes from the left-hand side. Nor of their fornication, nor of their thefts. This thing with Nero, that's clear. That's open air theft. We ain't steal nothing. No, this is for they don't give a fuck about the Venezuelan people, man. Anyway, Shalom.